All right, Holtzfforma 3120. Took this guy to the races. It ended up being a big flop. I ripped the starter handle right off of it at the race. And yeah, I didn't even get to make a run. So, since I've never showed you any footage, well, I showed you the first, basically initial cuts, but I've never showed you any footage since then, showing you how it's currently running. So we're going to get into that and show you. I'll explain what I've done, and we'll make some cuts. Alrighty. All right, the Holtzfforma 3120. Let's look into the races. When I went to start the saw, because this is a race that the saw is sitting on the ground, not running, and you have to start it, make your cuts. But when I went to do that, I ripped the starter handle right off the saw. And they will let you come back and retry. The problem was I was the second to the last race, so by the time I got it fixed and was able to go again, they had already moved into the next races. So I just didn't have enough time to get her switched out, you know? But yeah, we took it to the race and I never even got to make a single cut with it. So today I'm just going to show you how she's running. I was at the races watching all the other ones run, and there were some guys running some stock saws, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to outrun those guys. I may not actually come in last place. So it was kind of disappointing whenever that happened and I didn't get to make my run. So I don't think I would have come in last place. So she is stock to a point. I have done a muffler mod. You probably can't see very well, but there is a 1.5 inch pipe on here. That is my muffler mod. It is running an 880 carburetor with a concrete saw elbow, and the air filter is just kind of clamped on there to give me an air filter of some sort. I plan on changing that elbow and air filter out in the future though. It won't be there permanently. Other than that, I did some, I cut the tips of the dogs off so they weren't so pointy, rounded them off so that they don't want to snag it in the wood so much. And in this chain, this class, there's really no rules on your chains. You're allowed to do whatever you want. And I think that's probably where this saw would have shined the most, is because I went full tilt on this chain. Any modification I could do to make it faster, I did it. And I think that's where this saw would have stood out the most, is with the chain. So some races, you're allowed to do this with your chains. Some races, you're not. So you got to kind of, learn that along the way to see what you can do. But we're going to make a couple of cuts here. I mean, the engine is not ported at all. It's still stock. It's just the muffler mod, the carb swap, the air filter, the starter handle, and the chain. There's things like that. But there is no port work done to the cylinder at all. It's still completely factory inside the engine. So, let's make some cuts and show you how she cuts. I think the chain is what really makes this guy stand out myself. I haven't even tried to start this saw since I've been at the races, so let's see what happens. All right. Look how big that port is on that muffler. Can you see it? That's a huge port on the muffler. It's not that loud. The pipe actually extends about halfway or so in, and I cut the front side of it out. So the pipe only exists on the back side. Once you get past the muffler, the front side is all cut out. Did that to help with noise. She's not that loud too. It works. Helps to choke it. Boy. All right, there she goes. I've seen some other guys running basically stock setups at the race, and I don't think they would have stood a chance against that one. You know, I think I'm getting her figured out, the right combination of parts, you know, to make it run good. I kind of like that muffler. Sounds pretty good. It definitely gets the job done, and it's not super loud. That chain, I can really hog on that chain like crazy. She's got the torque, and the harder, you know, the more power I put behind that chain, the faster it eats. It just devours that wood. It is a square chain with all the modifications done. Well, here, let me show you. So there she is. You can see the rivets are done, the teeth are done. It's a square setup. I've done a lot of work to that thing. You should see it on something a lot more powerful. It's like the more power you put to the chain, the better it devours wood. And it's really meant for softer woods, not this piece of cherry that I'm cutting into, you know. But that's the chain I plan on getting, you know, keeping on this saw. I just got to work at getting the build finished, you know. So yeah, that's what the chain looks like. All the modifications. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple more things I could do, but you know, all the big modifications that'll get you the most speed are pretty much there. There's a few things I could do though. I might do it in the future. Here, you want to see what she'll do in softer piece of wood? This is basically the wood we're racing on. Same stuff. So yeah, I'll show you what she does in this wood. All right, so there you go. I didn't get the runner at the race. A little disappointing, but you know, I don't think I would have come in last. You know, I've seen enough other ones running. I posted footage of the race, and you can see the whole thing happen. And you can see where I ripped my starter off. On the score sheets, they didn't even put me on the score sheets because I got a 0. You know, if I would have had a time to post, they would have done it, but I basically got a 0. So they didn't even put me on the score sheet. But I did run it, or I tried to. And I don't think I would have come in last place, not at all. What else? I think we're going to go full-blown expansion chamber and stuff. I'm thinking about getting 2 of these, building 2 of these. One with the expansion chamber, all that stuff, going the whole 9 yards. And then just a muffler version. I was thinking about making this the muffler version, but if there's some modifications I did, I'm thinking I might just make this the expansion chamber version. So we'll see. But I do want 2 versions. I want just a muffler ported version and an expansion chamber version. So an expansion chamber version might end up on alcohol. We'll see. We'll see how things progress. You know, we tweak on our builds. But yeah. There she is. Stock engine. The chain. I think the chain is the big factor in this one. That chain really cuts well. In fact, the rakers are a little high for this saw. I'm pushing pretty hard. I could definitely go a little deeper on the raker, but we'll see. I'm not going to make those changes until after I get the expansion chamber and all that stuff done, you know? So, alrighty. Hope you enjoyed it. Later.